This man took out 2 gold bars. He wanted to buy a paper butterfly from the shopkeeper. He told the shopkeeper that his mother was bedridden with illness and loved making paper crafts, often losing sleep over it. In order to fulfill the man's mother's wish, Jack made a very realistic paper butterfly. The man was very satisfied and left. However, Jack had already noticed something strange about the gold bars. The next day, Mike returned to Jack, asking him to teach him how to fold paper butterflies. This time, Mike brought several more gold bars. Jack suddenly began to ask Mike if his mother knew how much he was spending on these gold bars. Mike began to explain that the gold bars weren't stolen, and he assured Jack not to worry. After that, Mike came to Jack's shop every day. It seemed that Jack had figured out Mike's secret. One day, as they were having a pleasant conversation, Jack asked Mike how his family made a living. Mike explained that during the day, he took care of the chicken coop, and at night, he worked at a restaurant to supplement his family's income. The pay wasn't great, but they managed to get by. Jack then asked Mike where his gold bars came from, and Mike, realizing he had been exposed, started to get scared. He tried to get up and run, but Jack quickly tied him up, demanding to know the source of the gold. It turned out that Mike had a millennium-old gold-spitting bird at home. This bird, similar to a sparrow, could spit out gold. Many people considered it a lucky creature. Jack now knew the answer, but he was curious. If Mike had the gold-spitting bird, why didn't he improve his life? Mike responded that he was content with his life. He had a place to live, enough food to eat, and he lived happily with his mother without any worries. However, Mike wasn't someone who didn't care about wealth. One day, his mother passed away from illness. Mike said it was the most satisfying farewell he had ever had. Jack asked if the last time he said goodbye was centuries ago, like when the empire fell. Jack knew the truth. Mike wasn't an old man's son. Even though Mike had been seen as a lucky bird centuries ago, each time it spat out gold to make people happy. Over time, Mike noticed that as the gold piled up, the smiles of people grew fewer. Wars broke out over the gold, eventually leading to the empire's downfall. Mike believed he brought only war and disaster, and he no longer felt worthy of being called a lucky creature. Mike didn't understand why gold didn't bring happiness and wondered what could bring true joy. He flew for a long time until he arrived at a farm. He saw a kind-looking woman whose smile was warm, and Mike grew curious. They didn't have gold, yet they were so happy. Mike decided to stay and find out the reason. The mother and son lived off raising chickens. The son often dragged his mother to learn how to fold paper. One day, a neighbor came over and casually mentioned how well their son's business was doing and showed off the luxury items the son had sent. The mother could only sit quietly and smile. After seeing this, the son swore that when he grew up, he would make a lot of money and buy many things for his mother. From then on, he worked tirelessly, and their house grew bigger. They built a wall around their yard, and their lives improved. However, the mother's smile faded. Her son often didn't return home for days or even months. She spent her time folding paper. The son, who was born in the year of the pig, made dozens of paper pigs, placing the best one in the most visible spot. But the mother never expected that her son would use the paper pig to wipe his feet and carelessly throw it aside. When the mother saw this, she picked up the pig, but she said nothing. As time passed, the son spent less and less time with her. One night, he announced that he was going to the front lines to enlist in the army, hoping that if he returned, their lives would be even better. The mother, though reluctant, said nothing. Before leaving, she folded a small turtle for him. Months went by, and she hadn't received any word from her son. She became more and more sorrowful, folding the small turtle every day, hoping for her son's return. But she never smiled again. She began asking around about her son's whereabouts, but all she knew was that the situation at the front lines was dire. At home, she wrote letters, hoping her son would return safely. The gold-spitting bird, seeing the mother's exhaustion, decided to fly to the front lines to find her son. But when it arrived, all it saw were bodies on the ground. The bird noticed that the son seemed to be